Hello. Today I'm going to be talking to you about independent and dependent variables and how they're different. This is going to be going into our graphing. We're going to do a fair amount of graphing. So this concept is going to come up again. But when we make our graphs, we have generally an x-axis and a y-axis. And the independent variable, that's the first one that we want to talk about. The independent variable is something that is set by the researcher or known by the researcher or scientist. So they determine this independent variable. They'll choose it. And it could be something like categories. They are choosing certain categories that they're going to investigate. It could be over time, and it's every year for 100 years. That's the independent variable. And that goes on the x-axis. So it always goes down here on the bottom. The opposite of the independent variable is the dependent variable. Now this one depends on the first one. The scientist does not know this going into the experiment. They don't know what the dependent variable is going to be. That's what they're going to be measuring. The dependent variable is going to be their data that they're collecting. So they don't know these figures yet until they run the experiment. And the data is going to go on the y-axis. So this is the dependent variable or our data. And that always goes on the up and down y-axis. So we want to take this knowledge and apply it to these situations. Now we're not graphing here. We're just going to get used to identifying independent, dependent variable and the graph title. Usually a combination of those two. So let's take a look at number one. A scientist wants to know how much mass in grams will be gained daily by a growing pumpkin seed over 30 days. So what do they know going into the experiment? What's the thing that they have determined? Is it the mass? Well, they don't know the mass yet, so it's not that. But they do know it's going to be every day for 30 days. So in this particular case, the independent variable is, you could say days, you could say 30 days, you could say a month. It's all kind of saying the same thing, right? It's just identifying what that independent variable will be, what goes on the x-axis. The dependent variable, the data that they're collecting, is this mass change in grams. So our dependent variable in this case is mass. But you could put a number of things. If you put mass or change in mass or change in size, change in weight, even any of those will let me know that you understand what the dependent variable is. And then what is our graph title? Usually, like I said, a combination of these two. So we'll say seed growth over a month. But this could have been more specific, right? Mass gained daily over a month. There's different ways you could have stated that. So you want to take the example that we did here for number one and do that for all the rest of these. We've got 6 other examples here that you're going to do that for. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope that helps.